John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando on the radio. We'll watch the credits from up high and low. Cinema Classics on.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John
And
DeSando.
I'm Wayne Crime Stopper Miller.
Let me do that again. I'm John DeSando,
And I'm Wayne Miller, Crime Stopper.
and this is Cinema Classics.
Yes.
All right, I'm tired of all this murder mystery stuff. That's all you ever talk about in the years that I've known you. Well, that's not all you talk about. You talk about everything.
Right.
But you do, starting back, I remember Sherlock Holmes, where I
Oh.
realized that you were a nut about Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And then not so surprised that you like Agatha Christie and the film adaptations.
Yeah.
So now we have the latest, the third, right?
The third. And this, the latest franchise, you know, that kind of, in a way, kind of equals the Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot,
Yeah.
you know, Christie ones, that the same type of thing. And of course, we're talking about the newest Knives Out movie, Wake Up the Dead Man. So wakey, wakey, Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead Man,
Yes.
a Knives Out mystery.
Yep.
And I couldn't figure that out. What does that title mean for the movie? Wake Up Dead Man.
Well, because there's a little bit there, we don't want to give something about mysteries, crimes, movies, whatever. You don't want to give a lot away,
Yeah.
but there's a dead man, several of them in fact, but one in particular that plays a role near the end of the movie about waking up,
Okay.
which adds a lot to it. So that's where I think they get it.
The centerpiece of this is Daniel Craig
Yeah.
playing Benoit. What is it?
Blanc. Yeah, last name,
Benoit
yeah,
Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. Yeah.
And if for nothing, go see him in his tailored suits. Boy,
Oh.
is he just beautiful.
Yeah, and he's let his hair grow, and he's a little, slightly more subdued, a little bit more serious than he was in the first
I think
two
you're right.
movies.
And they also make you wait at least a half hour to see him.
Yes, what was it, one review I read, 37 minutes before he
Yeah.
enters the whole darn
Yeah,
movie.
right. And that's, I'll tell you what interests me about this film is exactly that point. What really interests me about this is not Benoit, but it's actually that first part
Yes.
without him that is very, I thought, serious.
We find, yeah, I really kind of enjoyed that because you get to know a little bit about all of the main characters. And in any type of movie like this, there are a number of suspects. And like the Branaugh Poirot movies, you know, they're played by, mostly by well-known celebrities. And in this case, people like Jeremy Renner, Glenn Close particularly, Josh Brolin, you know, and others that you get to know in this one a little bit more about each of the characters, their backstories, you know, who they are, whatever. But talking about Josh Brolin, holy moly, you see him in action quite a bit as a Monsignor of this little tiny Catholic church.
He's a contemporary Elmer Gantry.
Oh, God.
In the pulpit. And, you know, that upstate New York has served as a more than one background
Yes,
for movies
yeah.
about people who have gone off the deep end.
Oh, and he, and even his physical appearance as well as how he's acting, he's kind of a cross between Jeff Bridges as Rooster Cogburn,
Good one.
Charlton Heston as Moses.
Good one.
But you also said though, as he, you know,
And Burt Lancaster
as Elmer Gentry,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, he's and he is so eccentric, but the actor I like the most in this is Josh O'Connor plays.
Everybody does it, and I haven't looked up his filmography to know which. He's
He's
apparently
done
been in
another-
several.
Yeah, several. One of them more recently called Mastermind, but excellent actor. Kind of reminds me a bit of a Adam Driver in a way. But
Yeah.
it seems like a young guy who's entered the priesthood as a measure of atonement for as a boxer.
Yes.
Early in his life, he killed a guy in the ring.
Yeah.
So it seems like he really wants to kind of redeem himself.
I like that point because the movie is riddled with guilt.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody. Everybody has guilt, but also. One of the parts of the movie I really liked was when O'Connor's young priest, and of course the whole setup, he's sent to, because he punched out somebody, one of his, in a church, so he's sent there to kind of help out this Monsignor. And
make sure you call him Monsignor.
Exactly.
Didn't he make himself
several
Monsignor?
times? Yeah, right. And the smallest congregation that could fit in a phone booth. But anyhow, of course, he turns off everybody because he is filled with hatred.
Yes.
Anybody, transgender, single parents, anybody that, in a way, one review I read that is really quite a political movie. In a way, in our political times.
Some would like to say that he has Trump qualities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but also that he holds sway over some of the faithful because of preaching hatred.
Yeah.
To be honest about it. But anyhow, one of the main parts of the movie that I really like, that what O'Connor as the young priest talks about, the Damascus moment. Mm-hmm. Referencing, in the Bible, St. Paul, when he was Saul, had a religious moment, struck down on the road to Damascus. Yeah. And he said that he himself had that, after he killed this guy in the ring. But also, later in the movie, our favorite detective hero right now, Blanc, has a Damascus moment too.
Yeah. The because everybody is so riddled with guilt in this movie, it keeps you interested to know, because a lot of the tropes are hidden.
Yes. Yeah. But one of the reviews I read, and we'll probably talk more about this in the podcast, Double Take. They refer to this as a whodunit, kind of like one of those classic ones, like Poirot or my favorite, Charlie Chan, when everybody's drawn. The detective brings all the suspects, all the main folks, in their room and explains how they solved the murder.
But don't you think this is less of a whodunit?
It's well, but it's funny in this what I was reading, and really, and of course, this is my favorite genre of movies, and I've always loved it, as you said, going back to Sherlock Holmes and all this other stuff. I love the mysteries. I like those mystery shows on TV, like Columbo or whatever. That there's really, as far as the dunnits, there's three subgenres. There's a whodunit, the why done it, and the how done it. And it was like a revelation of the Damascus moment for me to kind of realize that this is all three, and how he got to who he solved the case and what happened, as it's all laid out mostly in flashback at the end of the movie, is how it was done that surprised everybody, but also why it was done, the motive. So in crime solving, they talk about what's the motive, what are the means, what happened, and sometimes that'll lead you to the who.
Well, in Wake Up Dead Man, which is the one we're talking about, that part that I like, that first part, and I think you'd agree with me, is a really good one, has much to say about what I guess the term you use is ratiocination. The kind of thing you're really good at, which is analytical. And that seems to predominate that first part, less about who murdered the Monsignor, and more about why,
Exactly.
And whether you can reason yourself to the conclusion, because he mentions more than once that this is an impossible case.
Well, and that's where, and I went back and was reading, there was a guy, last name Carr, John Dixon Carr, something like
Oh
that.
yes, the Hollow Man.
Exactly. That was basically what they call a locked room
Yes,
mystery.
I love that.
And I did too, and there were several old ones way in the past. They call it the locked room because how could this person get murdered if they're in a locked room? Well, there's not an actual locked room in this one, so to speak. It was an alcove.
But it would appear to be closed.
Yeah, this alcove in the church. And it's kind of like, what, it's rationalizing the whole kitty caboodle as far as, how he was killed. But I really liked that because how, not only the whole, solving of the mystery, but the backstories of all these characters and everything too.
Well, Wayne Miller, we have so much more to say in
Oh,
our
my
podcast.
goodness. Yes.
And our audience needs to go to WCBE.org
Yep.
to the podcast experience, and then to look at, where are we now, at Double Take?
Uh-huh.
And we're at Double Take.
Yep.
And we'll talk more about all of that, including some of your favorite whodunits.
Exactly.
Or whatever you want to call it, why done it,
Yep.
whatever that. But, we have a time of year when there are actually selections at theaters and
Yeah.
Netflix.
Well-
And this is a Netflix.
Well, it's a Netflix now. Shortly, probably for any type of maybe Oscar consideration, was at the theaters for a couple
Yeah.
of weeks.
Yeah,
But not at all theaters.
yeah.
There's only, somebody told me only 2 in Columbus that was showing this. I'm like, good grief. The first
Yeah.
2 movies were good. This one, the third one, to me, I recommend it to people who love mysteries, but also, they love the Knives Out, the first 2 Knives Out. They'll like this one, I believe, even
The younger
more.
kids
It's the
may
best.
not like it as much as the first 2 because of that resignation. Because you
Yeah.
have so much there with that seems to be able to reason to, and yet on the other side you have faith, you have doubt. you
Yes.
have all those.
Redemption, you name it.
Yeah, right.
Sinning.
All right. So I suspect that you and I are agreeing that maybe a little bit older teens for this.
Exactly, oh yeah. But and of course you can't see it in the theaters now, it's I think exclusively on Netflix.
Yeah.
So if you got Netflix, which most people do,
Yeah.
I recommend it.
I'm John DeSando.
Cinema, 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 cinema. Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night or day, it's John DeSando.